Welcome back, everyone. In today's tutorial, we'll talk about type conversion. In order to talk about type conversion, we'll be using the same file from Rexester from last video, and that's the primitive types. We'll be using this because we have all of our types here, and we can just explain why the conversion works. So today we'll be talking about three different types of conversions: implicit, explicit, and then conversions amongst non-compatible types. So first, let's talk about implicit conversion. So implicit conversions. So these do not require any form of syntax. So does not require syntax. There is no data loss. So no data loss. And the system allows it just how it is because there is no data loss. So to give you an example, let's go with a float to a double. So float A is equal to 2.3f, and then double A is equal to float A. And if we run this, the system should not give us any problems. And that's because a double is pretty much a bigger version of a float. It has more decimal units to use, and it just allows for bigger numbers. So there couldn't possibly be a loss of data. Another example would be an S byte. So S byte A is equal to 12, and then we can convert this to either a short, long, int, and a float, because a float even holds for decimal units. So these are all possible conversions since no data would be lost. So let's make it into an int. Int A is equal to S byte A. And again, this works because there is no loss of data. So now let's try to convert that int to a short. So let me go back up one. So short A is equal to int A. Now this is the same number, so it doesn't matter what number it has. It could have 1, it could have 2, it could have 12,000. It doesn't matter. The system will not allow it because it senses that there's a possible loss of data. It says possible because a short is 16 bits and an int is 32 bits. So it just has that exception pretty much. So in order to do that type of conversion, we need the explicit conversions. So explicit conversions. Let me type this right. So these have a possible loss of data, and these require syntax, and which we call casting. So in order to allow for this, we need to cast this integer into a short. So we're pretty much turning this value into a short. So that way this short can be equal to this short, pretty much. And that allows it. So to show you the possible loss of data, I'll show you it with a float, converting a double to a float. So double B is equal to 2 some large number. And then float B is equal to, I think we already used double A, so we have to use B. Float B is equal to double B. And again, we have to cast it because if I run it like this, there's a possible loss of data. So